Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back at our Twine Endurance, and I'm going to do a little bit of updates for this video because there's some important updates I think that should be mentioned since the last video. The Homebase East has been pretty much the same, and this Homebase East is going good so far. I haven't had any issues, so I'm going to leave it. Same thing with the Assassin block off over here, and also that little what's it called? The little wall spike. And we got the block off here, so everything has been pretty much the exact same. These 3 tiles for the rear spawn, and so on. Homebase North, I've done a little bit of changes, but these are completely unnecessary. I only did them because I had extra structures, and now I don't. But if you didn't do any changes, I would assume that you would have maybe about a 30 structure count. But I just wanted to have a little bit more damage in this area because there's no recycling, so the smashers won't be able to get recycled. So a little extra damage wouldn't hurt. I did have a rare case where I had a 4 tile here and the wall launcher launched, and I think the wall launcher launched the flinger above this floor and it phased through. And then they started flinging through through the floor, so that's what I assume. I don't think they actually was able to get all the way to this tile over here to get the extra damage out. So because of that, I just opened up a little bit and put a gas trap on here. So I think that should solve the issue, but I don't know. It's such a rare case that I'm not sure exactly if this would be the best approach because it costs more structures. So. But yeah, these additional tiles that I'm adding in for extra damage down here are completely optional. I think I removed a sound wall here and replaced it with a dynamo, but I think that's not necessary. And I think that should be it. Excuse me. At least for the Homebase North. And I've done a little bit of changes to the ridge because I have a new Devil North Smasher, Devil North Assassin Tunnel. You can see it's rather monster over there, so I'll go over it soon, don't worry. So the ridge is actually going back to an older build that I was using previously, but just slightly modified. And you can see the block off is very similar to one of my previous videos, right? Lots and lots of block off over here, lots and lots of block off over here. Very similar block off from previously. And this block off should be somewhat similar to my old build if I just remove these tiles over here. So this block off, oops, alright, this block off here should be somewhat similar to my old build. Alright, somewhat similar, but there's just a little bit of difference here and there. So hope you got that. And below there's pretty much nothing. Now, let's go over to this one. Oops. Now, I've done a little bit of changes here and there, so of course there's not a split path. And it's going to be trying to follow through over here. It's going to be some sound walls, wall spikes, and etc. Right, so this is a sound wall, sound wall, sound wall. So these sound walls are the 69ers I was using previously. Double reload. Right, double reload 4 times durability. You can use the healing one as well, but whatever works for you. Now it's important that you don't have too much damage at the beginning, because if you have too much damage, the propanes might start blowing up, especially wave 12. So you don't want that to happen. So I only have damage on starting from this tile in particular. Maybe here as well, but this tile and this tile. So there's a wall dart there and a wall dart there, and that's the Seeing Electric Fields. That's the only damage I'm going to be starting off with so far. And basically, from there, we're going to have retractable, floor spike, retractable, pretty much the standard kind of procedure when you do any sort of regular tunneling. Now I'm going to launch them in here, and then there's going to be holes. So these holes are pretty much for the wall darts. And I'm no longer going to be using designs which previously I would launch a husk in here, and then instead of using a wall dart, I used the wall dart here. So I used the wall dart behind instead. So this is the kind of design I used to do, and I stopped using it because it didn't seem stable. Well, I would say it's pretty good, but sometimes the husk would go through, and I was using this. So I'm not going to be using this kind of design because the husk can go through the hole, even though it's kind of rare. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the wall dart like that, and that should be fine. The holes on the side are perfectly fine. You can use those are legit. Alright, so with that in mind, just going to upgrade this. So this wall launcher is going to be kind of critical. So these two wall launchers, this one is double reload 4 times durability. We'll go in here. This one's 2 times impact, single reload 3 times durability. Launch them all the way to here. Launch them to here, and there's going to be some dynamos, wall darts, and etc. Even if the husks don't get launched, they actually would still get hit by the wall darts, so it's really nice damage. And even here, we get hit by the wall darts, so I'm still trying to do constant damage to them. Alright, so these assumed electric fields would also hit the husks, and then we eventually get here. Now at this point, I'm like really trying to make sure that a lot of the regulars, weak husks are dead. The only thing that should be left is maybe husky husks and smashers. That's what I'm hoping, and riot shielders. So when they come in here, I'm going to be using these wall launchers, double reload, triple impact, right, and try to get them in there. I even put the target to risk the increased crowd control limit, because I really want to make sure I launch them right down here. It's a smasher or a regular husky. When I launch them down, they're going to poop. And then there's going to be greeted by a bunch of traps. So wall darts, dynamos, and all the goodies. Alright? And of course you can just keep adding more damage, like instead of having the dynamo, you can have a low wall dynamo with the wall dart back here, but you know, it might be a little overkill. And then they'll just go through the tunnel and get lots and lots of damage. And I'm using Stealing Zybers because I really want to make sure I kill them down here. And I want to make sure there's no regular husk that comes up here. The only possible husk that I want to come back up, possibly, would be the smasher. And that's where I use the wall light. And then go up here, wall light, bang. And hopefully that will get them down here. If I use a wooden floor spike, I fear that might slow them down too much where it might hit the wall. But I'll have to actually observe it to see if this does work and to get them down here. Because the wall lights are very fast at activation compared to wall launchers. Alright, and then once you get back out here, I don't really have many traps, and I'm thinking if I should try to add more traps, or not, because I'm hoping that this recycling system would get them killed, but I'm not entirely sure. And I have this little platform area. I'm still experimenting with it, but essentially what I'm trying to do is lure flingers into this area over here, instead of trying to lure the flinger somewhere else. Because sometimes the flinger may want to try to hit under here for whatever reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, but I haven't had an issue yet. But I just remember in the past I had issues with flingers trying to hit under here. The only time I actually had issues under here from memory is because the smashers from Devil North would actually break tiles from here, which caused the flingers to eventually want to come up. Okay. That's pretty much like the overview of my ridge. There's quite a lot of damage here, and there's actually kind of expensive. This is actually a very expensive ridge build. So you have to also keep that in mind when building this. Alright. But I'm hoping that once they actually get recycled, it should kill them, or get very close to killing them. And then if they get through, then they should be dead. Alright. Now keep in mind that these are also low half walls on here, so that these electric fields can also activate to get more damage up. And yeah, I think that should be it for the ridge in that area. The design over here on the ridge, I'm trying to get them to dance, and I didn't have luck on the previous time, and wasn't really looking to see why the mini boss didn't dance. And I was guessing because they teleported, because I think this design should get them to dance to get over here. and get them to start dancing. But I think they teleported and they've stopped dancing. They teleported to block off here. I'm thinking maybe if I had tried something like this, then maybe if they teleported here, they can actually walk up here, and they can actually walk up here, right? So like around the corner here, and then come right back up. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that could be a counter to the teleporting of the mini boss. But I'll have to really see, because it's putting the rooftop on the block off. Okay, so let me go ahead and check this. Okay, is it upgrading? So I'm gonna try to go back to the Devil North as soon as I stop upgrade this. If I was using my previous split pathing build, I think this bit that the block off won't work. And this block off is particularly to try to path the smashers over here, so they're naturally going to want to path over there. But I'm trying to make them take a little longer pathway by going straight into a straight line like this. In order for me to do that, I think I need this much block off. It might seem excessive, but I might try stripping it one layer at a time to see if this would still work. But so far, this block off, this tunnel has actually been working really well. So the propanes will get launched up here, so I don't need the chain launching anymore. So that's nice. So just triple impact and double reloaders. Wooden floor spikes here and there. And then get them walking on the edge here with the wall lights. Now, I didn't have this over here because I feared this might not path them properly, so this should do it. And the wall lights are pretty quick, so. Alright. In the beginning, I add actually 2 electric fields, nature. And actually, I guess it could be energy. And the reason being is because I want to make sure that this particular gas trap doesn't get hit too much. So I even put a healing spike and a double gas trap, right? With effect duration. So I really want to make sure they don't hit this, because the assassin does seem like they want to come up under here, like for the non-propanes and non-smasher units. So I'm going to kill the midgets, and then whatever left over, they come up here. It shouldn't take too much damage. Alright, so this is actually quite a lot. So, yeah. If you have the structures, go for it. But there's going to be some tile savings that I'm going to show you later. I think there's going to be some here and there little tile savings that I do, but for the most part it should be okay. Like there's a small little tile saving here that I did, something like that. Not really much tile savings here. There's going to be a little bit from this block off from the Devil West, so you can see this Devil West. I stripped it down a little bit, and it seems like it's working, so I'm going to keep it. I don't know if I want to strip it any more than that, though. Oops, let me go ahead and try these again. The Lava Bomb Shift is actually the same as last time, but just remove those 2 on the north, right? So move the 2 on the north, and you're good. Remember, this block off only works because of this amp design. If it wasn't for that, this block off will not work. Alright, so we have this and this. This should be the same as usual. Now, I removed the holes, right? The holes with the wall darts and behind, and that saves some structures. So let me go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, I have this here. I forgot about that. Yeah, this, maybe I should also do the same thing here too. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Because I really don't want to risk getting them stuck behind. And then they're free to do whatever, so I'm trying to avoid that situation. Alright. I guess that saves me like 4 structures. Alright. Okay. So that should be the Devil North. I think there's not really too many changes. Did I change the Lopper Shield? I actually don't remember. But yeah, You don't have to copy it word for word of how I'm doing it, but you should get a really good idea how I'm doing it. Okay. And let me go ahead and do that. Alright. Pit is almost the same as last time. The main difference is that because I opened up this area, I think there might be some lobbers trying to hit through over here. So I added this little lobber shield for that, and I think that did the trick. Alright. Everything else here has been the same, I think. Right? And let me go over. So I wanted to add extra one precaution. I didn't put this previously because I did notice that in one of my runs, like a couple layers here were broken. And I was thinking, maybe try putting this tile over here, the single tile. And I haven't had an issue since, but I'm not sure if that did the trick. Layering over here in the pit, and layering in the pit is extremely complex, so it's really hard to tell what works and what doesn't. Alright, I'm gonna go over small changes on the bottom. So this bottom's actually been pretty interesting. It's actually working well, and it hasn't been destroyed of all my runs, which I'm really genuinely surprised about. These floor launchers are 5 times durability and single healing. Alright, so 1 healing, 5 times durability. So lots of durability, slow reload, and it's going to launch them up and down to heal. And this tile is a half floor, but if you make it a full floor, it's something really interesting happens. Try it out. Oh, whoops. Oh, there we go. So what happens if you make this a full floor, the huts for some reason want to path diagonally over here, but they actually never reach the tile here, and they just fall into the lava like that. It's so funny. They never make it through. But if you want to make it a full tile just for giggles and to watch them fail, then go for it. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Alright. So that's that. But nonetheless, they actually do still go to this corner, right? They just still do this corner and just chill, so it's still cool. Alright. So this area, I blocked this off with a wall spike, right? So the huts are still gonna come from behind, like usual, right? I replaced this with more durability, but yeah, the huts still come behind from usual, and it's just trying to destroy this wall, right? So it's still like that, but I have this wall over here. And what it's gonna end up doing, I'm pretty sure I have to actually get to wave 30 and observe it, because lately I haven't been doing that. But basically what I'm trying to do is that when the mini boss teleports right after it's dancing, sometimes it teleports, and when it teleports, I'm hoping that it will go all the way around, all the way over here, and they will start re-dancing. So I'm trying to get them to re-dance after a teleport. I got them to dance initially, but I can't. But the previous build didn't dance after teleport, so I'm trying to do that. Everything else in this build has been the same. I think has been the same. Maybe I added a layer back here. I don't remember. Alright, and this area has been the same. That has been the same. Okay. I think I used to have the more. I think I used to have more anti-airs, and it just removes them. Alright, and that should be that area for the pit and the bridge. Oh yeah, there's one more thing in the pit I have to mention, is that the slight changes to the lava shield, and make sure whatever lava shield you're using, it's at least 2 tiles high, right? A minimum of 2 tiles high, or else the huts seem to be able to break it. Alright, so make sure it's at least 2 tiles high, and you should be golden. Right, so for example, a lava shield like this is no good, right? Even if you ignore the fact that they're launching down here. Okay, so we have that, and that area is the same. So I'm gonna go over the Hill West. So Hill West, sometimes it failed from my previous build, but I think I fixed it. So basically what ended up happening is that sometimes this stair got destroyed, and I was trying to think about why it got destroyed, and there could be a number of possibilities. It could be after a certain amount of crowd control use, the husk got immune to all these traps and then eventually got to the stair and just destroyed it. I think maybe that could be one possibility. Another possibility I was thinking about was the heal south. So the heal south, if they got all 5 durability used and then they just jump down here and it could be from denied, because denied also takes up the space, preventing the traps from being used. So maybe they came all the way back here, all the way from here, and then went to the staircase. Instead of trying to path on this particular tile, they jumped down. Really odd. Really odd. And I do remember from a particular person a long time ago that they always put a floor tile over here. One of the floor tiles here or here, I can't remember. And apparently this actually helped with the pathing of the husk. So maybe that could be one reason I didn't have a tile here. So maybe if you put a tile here or here, maybe that fixed the issue. But because of that, I put this over here in the back. So if they actually do decide to jump down for whatever reason, then they're greeted by the gas trap impulse spike. So they're not coming through. So this is, I guess, my easy fix. But there's probably a cheaper fix for this. I'd like to see when it come down to test it, and also to see if this particular add-on would disrupt the mini boss dancing. I don't want to disrupt the mini boss dancing either. Alright, the thing over here, this is also another precaution where I have seeing electric fields on top, right? So seeing electric fields on top, and in case they actually make it over here and they start hitting on the stairs, I'm hoping the seeing electric fields would just kill them. It's always going to be a weak husk too. It's not going to be a husky. So I'm not too worried about the amount of damage output that I'm going to be dishing out. Okay, I think that should be it. There's not really much over here that has changed, not that I believe. I may have added additional one of floor spike. Over here is a block off for assassin husk. And then this is if in case, for whatever reason, the smasher makes it in here and they get staggered down. And then this is just to stagger them into the lava. I think that should be it for there. And oh, if it's not a smasher, then the wall spike will just kill it. So that is that. Now, I did also hear some people that say that this particular wall launcher is going to get hit by flingers, but from my experience, the wall launcher just resets their pathing and then they don't go back here, so I think this should be fine. And also maybe the lobber shield also helps protect it too. The hill south though, I actually have not changed at all since the previous patch, so, and it's still working good. I'm actually genuinely surprised how good this hill south is working, like overall. With the exception of denied, sometimes the husk may leak, possibly. At least from my previous experience on, not exactly the same build, but a very similar build using damage and recycling. Pit. So pit has been pretty much the same. The only difference I think is that I remove crowd control over here, and it's a wall spike, so this is going to be a wall spike. And I think there's not really much changes. I accidentally changed them to triple impact over reload. I want to go back to 4 times impact because they're more funny. I want to see them launch them far, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright. But overall has been the same in this area, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've changed anything from the lobber shield or nothing like that. One thing you gotta keep in mind though, is this area. So I changed something in this area and I was trying to think about why I was failing sometimes. It was really rare, but sometimes I would fail. Gas trap in this tile, because I think one of the assassin husks was trying to hit on this wall and it broke. So gas trap for that. And I changed this back to here. I used to have something like this. I'm gonna recreate it. Add something like this. Right? And then this was like a wooden floor spike or something. Add something like this. And this actually seemed like it was working good. But what I ended up noticing is that they somehow leaked on the bottom. I don't know why. So this, a propane leaked down here somehow. This wall launcher didn't get used, and that wall launcher didn't get used. And I don't think it's from the geyser. And I'm thinking it's just somehow they just decide to jump down this massive gap down here, like whoop. That's the only thing I can come up with. So if I block this off over here, it seemed like it didn't work. It still somehow on the occasion they leaked through, so I just did this. So I just did this. And I'm happier with that. It's totally fine for me. Alright, yeah, so this is totally fine for me. I'm perfectly fine just spending a little bit extra structures doing that to ensure the propanes don't magically leak in the bottom here. Yeah, it's just magic. I don't know exactly how they do it. Or they go through the wall launchers and just somehow end up there. I don't know. Really odd. Anyway. Now, the lava down here, sometimes the mini bosses don't work in terms of dancing. And I'm trying to figure out if there's another solution for that. To get them to dance, but also without using a cheesy strap. I don't want to use a cheesy strap because it doesn't seem necessary for this particular amplifier. At least for the way I'm building it. So if it's not necessary, there's no need to try to risk that little small percentage of failing. Yeah, so I have to see if there's another solution for this. I'm trying to see if I can. I'm trying to copy Vixen's dancing thing, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to work sometimes. But even then, if it doesn't work on wave 18, by the time you get to UFO, it should be fine. Alright, unless they get wave 21, then maybe they might go a little weird. I don't know, I'd have to see when that comes. But yeah, mini boss dancing doesn't seem to be 100%. But I don't know, maybe you guys can figure out for me exactly how to get this dancing 100% of the time. Because it used to be at some point, but I don't know. I may have done changes here and there where it didn't do it. Who knows? I added this wall over here because I was just re-watching Vixen's video and seeing if maybe this wall did something. I don't know. Or maybe the mini boss teleports in here and then they do something weird, or who knows? I don't know. It's just kind of baffling. Alright, so that is that over there. Valley, all I did for Valley is remove some structures to save tiles. But yeah, I think I just removed some stuff over here, and then at the end, and that's it. Yeah, I think that's all I really did. I probably don't even need this here, but yeah. Or I may not need the dynamo. Yeah, maybe I'll just remove the dynamo. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Anyway. But yeah, the valley that you build over here, if you're using this kind of cheesy design, the tunnel should actually be really cheap, in my opinion, because you're going to be luring the smashers or propanes over here in the majority of in pretty much all the assassin huts. Your tunnel shouldn't be really that hectic, so that's why it should be relatively cheap. It should still kill them and do some decent recycling. Like, I only have wall launcher here and floor launcher at the back, and that's it. That's the only thing I think it should be really doing. Alright, so that's Valley. And of course I removed some structures back here. You know, I think I used to have something like that. I just removed them. I probably could possibly remove this, could possibly be able to remove that. I don't know. Well, here goes nothing. If it doesn't work, well, don't blame me. Alright, so, out of the way. This is the exact same. Beach is the exact same. Like, I think I didn't do any changes to it since the last video. Boom, 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 boom. I think I've made this part though a little bit cheaper, just a little bit cheaper, right? So instead of the roof, I just let the roof up there do the talking, and that seemed to be working. Down here has been the same, this block off the same. Nothing in the back here because there's a rare spawn on Wamp that can destroy these tiles. And this has been the same. This block off from the Wamp has been the same. This over here I think has been the same. Yeah, I think everything here has been the same. I have a wall spike here. I don't even remember why. I don't know. I'll just keep it. Alright. So, yeah. I've actually changed this. It used to be a wall light, and I changed it to a dynamo, so I just get more relying on this wall launcher to do the launching. Because I don't want to hit that 5 crowd control limit too soon. So, I think one thing that's important to note for same structures is remove them down here because of the update that happened. There's an update that happened April 13th where you no longer need to have this down here because the crowd control limit is going to reset after 30 seconds. By the time they come up here, it's going to be more than 30 seconds. So, yeah, I just removed it along with the wooden floor spikes, tile savings. Here has been the same. I think I used to have a gas trap here, removed it, didn't seem necessary. And I think down here oh yeah, I removed the holes, so just wall darts with no holes, with the no hole and wall dart, so that's good. Save some structures there. Yeah, I think that should be it in there. Yeah, Wamp hasn't changed at all. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is that the fire smashers will leak. I've been testing the past few days as Ninja instead of Constructor, so definitely they do leak, but I don't fail, so that's nice to know. Oh yeah, and this is experimental. I don't know if this actually works. So basically, sometimes when the mini boss dances over here, it teleports down here. I'm thinking instead of trying to break through the back, maybe I can get through with the stair up here to get them to dance again after teleport. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if it actually works, but I guess I have to wait and see. But yeah, that's pretty much all the updates that I've done for this Twine Endurance. It's not too much, but it should help you be a little bit more consistent. Homebase North are updates completely optional, I think, but yeah. Alright, that'll be it for now, ladies and gentlemen. So, as always, have fun building.